Joining us now to weigh in on that and much more is Jonathan Tavanari from Italy on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. JT, it's always a pleasure, my friend. It's been too long. How are you?
I'm good, fellas. I appreciate you guys having me in.
Hey,
how's everybody going over there?
Hey, we're good,
no
man.
No complaints.
We're feeling good. I don't know if we're at the level of, you playing professional basketball in Italy, but we're doing pretty well. And while we're on that topic, what is the best part of playing basketball overseas for you?
Being able to get a paycheck for shooting three-pointers. and no matter how many of those I take that are out of order, or just they're kind of not in sync with the offense, and shoot before or shoot after, my checks still keep coming. So that's the best part.
I kind of thought you may say the food. How's the food over there?
I mean, food is good. My dad is half Italian. My dad is Italian, so I'm half Italian. So I grew up around the culture my whole life. Mom's a great cook, and always grew up eating the dishes of my of where the Tavanari family hails from. Which is kind of like polenta. It's kind of a doughy type of mashed potatoes, with sausage and that kind of stuff. So I grew up around the culture. I spoke Italian before I got here, so it's second home for me. I know I say that Utah is my second home, but I've been here for almost a decade now, so it's getting pretty comfortable as well.
Very cool. Jonathan Tavanari joining us from Italy. We'll talk specifically some more about what you're doing with basketball in just a bit, but it's clear that you're very passionate about BYU basketball. Since you have left, you have followed the Cougars very closely and the head coach, Dave Rose. What are your thoughts on what BYU basketball is doing this year, the youngest team that Dave Rose has ever coached?
I mean, you just answered the question. You just answered my question for me. I think that this is the youngest team that the coach has ever had. And also, you guys have been following with the media a little bit more than I have. I had more of an inside presence, more of a, BYU basketball is like a sibling for me. It's family. You guys know how hyped, the three kids from Lone Peak, have been. I mean, even from the time that I was there as a freshman, we've been going over there, to Alpine to see them play in high school, in the middle school, play in the high school. I mean, when we were recruiting Tyler, we were talking to TJ and all kind of stuff. And so fans have been waiting for this moment for so long. And now it's here, and, everybody has been, picturing times where Danny Ainge was in Provo, or, Jimmer's senior year and that kind of stuff. But people don't realize that for you to get to that point, it takes time and takes experience. I mean, let's pretend, you guys know that, Jimmer and I are very good friends. Jimmer and I are very close, but let's throw Jim under the bus a little bit. You guys remember Jimmer's freshman and sophomore year, except with the game at Wake Forest, he really didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so would it be fair for us to throw Jimmer under the bus for those 2 years? No. He was lucky that he had Trent, Lee, myself, Sam Burgess, Ben Murdoch, and other guys that could take the heat for him until he was ready. And these guys don't have that luxury. People will say, well, you talk about yourself a lot. Well, I put up 3 banners at BYU. I never lost a bet. I probably lost one bet game. And I finished in the top 25 all 4 years. And when I graduated, nobody had won more games than I did. So I think I got the right to talk a little bit. And I had the luxury to have Keeney Young ahead of me. We're talking about an All-American player, a guy that was the player of the year in the conference. And so when I made a mistake and Coach Rose put me in for KT, my mistake was, okay, well, KT, let's get back in. These guys don't have that luxury. They're learning on the go. And then people can circle back like, well, but what about Nick Emery? So what, Nick Emery? 18 months ago, dude was in Germany flying back home because he had to have surgery. He wasn't feeling good. And so it's very important, for people to remember that these guys need experience, that you got to wait for their turn and they got to get used to it. I've been telling this whole time, and I know Shep and I talk, a little bit more on Twitter, but we need to measure these guys how they do next year. This year, I joke around last week. These guys this year, they're learning how to be potty trained. Next year, they better learn how to jump, roll on the floor, shake their tail. They need to be able to do all of these tricks, But that's next year. This year, they still young puppies, learning how to do things. And so expectations because Eric is averaging a double-double and Eric is an animal and he might go to the NBA. I mean, we got to slow down. You know what I mean? Like, you got to – and that's the problem with people today, with millennials, and, you don't have the patience. You don't want to learn to earn your stuff. You know what I mean? You just want now and fast, and you go on Twitter and there's 1,000 followers in 2 days. I mean, it's – common sense isn't common anymore.
So, Jonathan, then, what is your message then to the vocal minority of fans who right now are voicing their frustrations on many different levels?
Man, this is like the Book of Mormon circle of things. I mean, when people get frustrated, they start acting up, and then somebody comes and preaches them the right way, and then everything goes smooth for a while, and then they start complaining again. I mean, so I would tell them, go read the Book of Mormon, because they're just acting up right now. Because what happened after – I'll give you the football example. Lavelle left BYU. They brought Gary. Gary wasn't doing very well. They brought Bronco. Do you guys remember how excited everybody was when Bronco came in? Man, it was cool to choose the right. And then after a decade of Bronco, all he talks about is church and fireside now. And Kalani came, and then now he's throwing up, the Hawaiian sign to rep the Y, and now it's cool again to be a BYU fan. I mean, doesn't that sound like the circle of iniquity of the Lamanites? And so my thing is, just got to calm down. About a year ago or so, I had a really heated argument with somebody saying that my 4 years at BYU weren't special. Well, I had the guy tweet at me the other day saying, your 4 years were very special. I was wrong. People need to understand, like, the success that Coach Rose had in the beginning had all to do with experienced players at the right time, peaking at the right time. It takes a lot to win a championship. It takes a lot to finish in the top 25. It's not a given, And so let's ride out this year. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see if these young core guys are going to just, peak at the right time this year, maybe make a run at the end of the season or at the conference tournament. Let's see what happens in the postseason. But we cannot say, we're going to throw Nick under the bus or we're going to throw Elijah under the bus. Man, KD's a bust. I mean, we can start doing that into next season when TJ, when Nick, and when Eric have already a year of playing together college basketball together. And then next year, trust me, I'll be the first one to be over there criticizing. But I'll never criticize because I know how hard it is to make sure that stuff happens. But I'll be the first one to say to these guys, hey, we got to go, fellas. This whole summer, I told Eric, you just be strong. We're going to need you, this and that. To Nick, I love Jackson. He was the best man at my wedding. But I tell Nick, I was like, Nick is my favorite and Emery. Nick, when you cross half court, you put your hands up and be ready to shoot. And to TJ, I said, TJ at the end of the summer became a running joke. I said, TJ, what are you about to do now, buddy? He said, JT, I'm about to go get a sandwich because I got to put on some weight. And so we can't expect these guys to do great now. They're at BYU. They're not at Kentucky. And so, we got to take time. I mean, look at Frank Jackson at Duke. It ain't like Frank Jackson is going to be a lottery pick this year. So we got to wait. We got to have patience. So what would I tell people that say, oh, man, they're displeased with Coach Rose? Pick up your scriptures and read the Book of Mormon because you guys are acting up and you guys just need to take a chill pill.
Jonathan Tavanari bringing the hot takes on BYU Sports Nation. The Cougars have 4 games against non-St. Mary's Gonzaga teams until they take on the Zags for the first time. Where are you expecting BYU basketball to improve the most over the next 4 games before they take on the Zags?
I don't know which of you knuckleheads said that the best offense is a good offense. The best offense is to make shots. Doesn't matter if it's a good shot or a bad shot. You just need to make shots. That is the best offense, period. And the way Coach Rose plays, Coach Rose has been coaching at BYU for over a decade now. He hasn't changed the way he plays or the way he coaches. You get stops and you run. You can't run when you're going to get stops. So the best place that we can improve, and, once you hit rock bottom is just going up, is on defense. And so there's nothing wrong with saying these guys are young and they're immature and they need more experience, when in reality, all we need is just to let them take their course. So I think that, and somebody also said on the radio, on Twitter, saying, the turnover. I mean, that's important because throwing the ball away is a time that you don't get to score a point because you can't even throw the ball up in the hoop. And so just figuring out a way to get stops, doesn't matter if it's a charge or a rebound or a steal, but getting the ball and figuring out a way to score. Because you know what? People will say, well, Nick take bad shots. Well, TJ, and, worst shot selection. I mean, Tavanari, good grief. You know what? It is a whole lot better to try to make a shot and throw the ball up for a shot than to get a turnover. Because if you turn over, that means the other team is probably going to get a chance to shoot that you didn't take.
Jonathan, fantastic stuff, man. Never disappointing. We wish you the best of luck with your playoff push in Italy over the next few months, and let's talk again soon.
I appreciate it, man. I usually try to come in with you guys once a year or so forth, during the season, because I'm kind of like Christmas, It's special when it only happens once a year. So.
Hey, and for the record, it was Shep that said the best offense is
I like
a really
me
good
some offense, all right? I'm not gonna deny that I like a good offense.
I've been trying to knock some sense into Mr. Jason for about 10 years now. If it ain't happened now, it won't happen again. So.
JT, thanks, man.